Hey everyone, my name is Vikky and today I'll be watching Attack on Titan Season 1, Episode 23. This will be now officially the first video which will be fully recorded with the new microphone. And also, I just wanted to quickly thank you. The channel just hit 300 subscribers and it just means a lot to me. You never know when you'll get a new subscriber, or rather if you'll get a new subscriber. There are no guarantees that I'll ever hit 400 subscribers. I'm just grateful for this moment, for this milestone, and I can just say thank you to all for taking time and subscribing to me. I really appreciate it. So yeah, before I go into this episode, I have to address a couple of things regarding the previous one. I usually read the comments of a video usually after the first 24 hours, after one day basically. So at this point I haven't read all your comments and haven't replied to them on the previous video. I will. But my friend said to me that he has seen some of your comments and that there are a lot of stuff which you pointed out that I got wrong or I misunderstood, and I want to address that now and talk about the stuff you pointed out. I guess this will be quite not too long, but if you're not interested into that, this is basically more discussion based. If you're here just for the reaction, feel free to skip this part. Whenever I'm talking about some comments or anything connected to you, my viewers, I usually don't call out your names or anything because I don't know how I actually feel about it, but I think you deserve some recognition. I just felt that because there were so many things you corrected me on, I have to give some props and show my gratitude towards you. So if anyone dislikes being mentioned on a video, that's fine, I'll stop doing that, but I just felt it was fitting here. And just to make sure I appreciate each and every comment. If anyone wants any special shout out in a video, I can always do it. Just let me know in the comment section. But here I just want to give praise to those commenters which took their time explaining stuff to me, and I really appreciate it. So I would first like to thank to Armin Sidewalls and F6 Mish. I hope I said your names correctly. You two both pointed out some similar stuff, so I'll talk about those stuff now. But you explained a lot of stuff. I'm really grateful for that. So you pointed out that so the first thing is that actually they threw the bodies off the carriages to make the carriages faster. I feel quite stupid for not realizing that earlier. In a previous video I thought they were throwing those bodies down as a distraction, so that the Titans would go and eat the bodies. It was actually just to make them go faster, so I was really wrong on that. But what is really interesting to me here is that this is basically now a proof. I never really thought about this before. I think I never talked about something like this before, but it seems as though Titans don't want to eat dead humans, so they're not attracted to them. So it's not like the Titans are attracted to their flesh or to the smell of a human. It seems like they can basically feel humans because they somehow feel that they're alive and they're attracted to living humans. You cannot even use a dead body as a distraction because the Titans can somehow feel that someone is dead, which is really interesting and dangerous. I mean, I'm really curious if it'll be ever explained into how Titans specifically work, and I have a feeling that it will. They often have pointed out, that highlighted the fact that there's a secret behind Titans in this show and they all want to learn it. So maybe we will learn one day. So that's one thing. The second thing which I got wrong was that patch which Levi gave to Dita, I hope I said that name correctly, was actually not Evans. It was actually from one of his own comrades, squad members. Like, yeah, I also thought it was also like suspicious to me. Basically, when did Levi had time to get that patch? But actually, this makes a lot of sense, that basically it wasn't really Evans. It was one of the patches which he basically took for himself, right? He took it for his own memory. Although one of you also pointed out that maybe he wanted to give that patch to Peter's father, you know. So basically maybe he wanted to give those patches to their families, which is also a possibility. But in any case, this scene just gets a lot more, it gets even more emotional because he took something which was supposed to serve, for instance, I don't know, maybe it was Gunther's patch. So he was basically prepared to sacrifice an item which would remember him on his friend to make someone else feel better and have a memory on his friend, you know. Especially considering that Dita, like, messed up so much. He didn't follow the rules. Because of him, they had to throw those bodies away so that they could escape. And also, I think one of, like, the other one friend with the ponytail, I think he died. So he really messed up. He wasn't listening to the rules. And he was basically also criticizing Levi and Erwin of being emotionless. So, and all that, and Levi still decided to do that for him, you know. Maybe it's a weird comparison, but in some ways Levi reminds me of a father type figure, you know, who can be at first cold and tries to be serious because he's aware that he has to be as the father, you know. But at the same time, he just wants, he's prepared to sacrifice a lot of things just for the well-being of his children, and has a heart of gold inside him, you know. And I see that in Levi. He seems on the outside he seems cold, but it's just a thing it has probably to do something with his personality, definitely. But at the end of the day, the way he's acting towards people, it's often because he as a leader is required to act as. But at the end of the day, deep inside him, he seems to really care about, like, every member of the Survey Corps, you know. It just gives another level to Levi's character, and just makes me appreciate him even more. And the third thing which I got wrong was, basically it wasn't me, but I don't want to blame my friend too much. It was the fact that he told me that Levi and Petra were engaged, and you pointed out that that's wrong. But he went and checked some information online and realized that he was wrong. You know, if everybody can be wrong, so of course I'm not angry or anything on him. But I'm glad that you corrected this. And you pointed out that there was love, but it was one-sided. So basically Petra did love Levi, and basically Levi didn't know anything about it till the part where his father, her father, told him. And I also was thinking about the scene where Olu said that Petra was his wife, because I thought that Levi and Petra were really engaged. I thought that maybe, and that's why I thought that basically Olu was making fun of Petra because of her engagement with Levi, you know, that he was pretending that he's Levi and then was joking, oh, now you're my wife because I'm Levi, you know. But I got that wrong. That scene basically showed the fact that Olo loves Petra. So that's interesting, and also that he acts and has a similar haircut to Levi because he wants to attract her. Olo wants to attract Petra. And again, this also makes sense. I didn't know that he had feelings for her, or that he was doing this because he wanted to attract her. I just thought that he wanted to be cool. Because Levi is so strong, I thought that he wants to be like Levi. This just, again, gives more depth to everything. It just makes their relationship, their deaths more sadder, because Olo had to watch Petra getting killed. Like, he was the last one to die, and just before his death, the female titans smashed Petra, I mean. So he really had to feel bad. Man, I really feel bad for Olo. I liked him. I think that he had a lot of potential. I liked his dynamic with Eren. It's sad that they all had to die. It would be really interested to see if at least someone would survive, like Olo, and how he would now handle the deaths of someone like Petra. But that didn't happen. Also, you pointed out that even the creator, I hope I will say this name right, Isayama. I hope I said it right. I guess that's the manga artist. So we pointed out that the creator said that basically Levi is not a man for love, for romantic relationships. So that just confirms that the love was one-sided, that they probably weren't engaged. This is also a thing where I was wrong. They were not engaged. And then there was a thing that was pointed out by Ken Re. I hope I said that right. And by Lauren Versailles or Versailles. I hope I also said that right. Yeah, you pointed out that basically Levi having this insane amount of speed is actually not normal. And that it will be explained in future episodes. I actually was thinking about this because when I was editing the previous video, I realized little details which I haven't thought about then, like his eyes becoming red. So, and I really started to think that maybe he actually does have some powers or genetic modifications or anything like that, and it seems like this could really be. And I mean, I'm glad that you pointed that out because as I said, I really want to know what the normal standard is, because as I said, if this is something that any human can achieve, then considering Mikasa's talent, that would mean that maybe one day Mikasa would be able to do this like Levi, but it seems like not. It seems like this can only be done by Levi, and that this has a deeper meaning, which I will learn in the future episodes. And before I really go into this video, I would just like to comment on a thing which was also pointed out by Lauren. And you asked me if I have ever heard of moral ambiguity. If I'm not wrong, ambiguity means that there are two perspectives to a thing, two views, two parts, and moral ambiguity is regarding to that one thing can be viewed as bad or good, that it's really hard to determine if that thing is good or bad, right? And you pointed out that maybe that she might be crying because she feels guilt. And that's really interesting. That really opens up, I guess, my view on the female titan situation. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that there's a chance that maybe she does feel guilt, or that uh, there's any other specific reason for why she was crying. I definitely could be wrong on that, but me personally, I believe that she was crying because she failed to get Eren. And yeah, I definitely see your point. She could feel guilt, like she spared Armin, she didn't kill him, so this is an indicator that maybe she's not just a monster. And even if in the most evil person on world, you can still find some good, definitely. But it's just but it's just the fact that she was just so enjoying killing. It seems like she felt the joy while killing them, and when she finally got to Eren, we've seen her face. Like she had that combination of joy, bloodthirst in her face and her eyes. She was glowing in her face, like literally. She seemed so enthusiastic, happy, in a creepy sense that she finally was there and that she has seen Eren. And so it seems like he really meant a lot to her, and that's why I assume that she was crying because she failed to get him. So I'm not saying that she cried because she's just purely evil, but I think but it seems like Eren was really important to her, and that could have hurt her. But I guess we just have to see. We just have to see in any future episodes. At least I hope we'll see who she is and her reasoning behind everything. And I guess at that point everything will become much more clearer and I'll understand it better. But yeah, again, thank you all for correcting me. There were a ton of things I got wrong in that episode, but you know, at the end of the day, I made a long, like the whole video was an hour long, so the discussion was long, and with longer discussion, there's a bigger chance of making a mistake. And at the end of the day, we're human. I'll always make some mistakes, especially because this is my first time watching. So I'm glad that I know that that you'll point these things out. It's just great. It's just basically great that you're helping me having a fantastic experience. And yeah, so the next episode, I don't have too much to say here because, you know, as I said in my previous predictions, it's just the same. It just seems like this arc is now finished, so can you really have any expectations? And even, you know, I can't. There's nothing too much I could predict. The only thing that will probably happen is seeing the new supervisor, the new boss of Eren. And that's basically it, you know, for my expectations. And I'm just looking forward to it. So I'll probably just jump into the video. Smile. A bit creepy if you think about it. Annie. That's her backstory. Oh, does that really mean that she is the female Titan? I mean, if they're putting so much, attention to her. Oh, this is inside Wall Sheena. Priest.
お前みたいなバカ女が憲兵団に入る。いいってそんなの。調査兵団の一行が王都へ召喚される件だ。奴らが本日この町の中央通りを通る。護送自体は憲兵団本部の仕事だから、我々はこの町を通過する間だけでいい。一ついいでしょうか。なんだ。護送団を何から守ればいいのでしょう。
Yeah, I was just thinking about it.
この壁の中で王政に逆らうものなど聞いたことがありません。もうお前真面目だな。すべて任せた。詳細はこれに書いてあるからな。お前たちだけでやり通してみろ。
Interesting.
だが手間だけはやるなよ。ああ、お待たせ。続きやっか。誰だ。
I mean, it seems like they're really comfortable, these policemen.
憲兵団を選んだ時点でお前も同類だろうが。同類じゃない。俺はお前らクズとは違う。俺は憲兵団を正しくするためにここに来た。
The Aaron version of the police brigade.
ただ普通の人間に戻す。それだけだ。
Interesting.
正しい姿に。
She's quite annoying, isn't she?
あんたみたいないい人が体制を占めちまったらそれこそしまいだと思うけどね。
なんだ、お前まともに喋れるのか。
As I said, he reminded me of Aaron.
とても勇気がいることだから尊敬するよ。ただ単にバカなだけかもしれないけど。
そいつが単にバカだったってだけだろ。一緒にするな。現場に着いたら各自持ち場を確認しておけ。いいな。
ちょっと何あれ。
一体何やって。
Interesting.
なんだしんべ、何の用だ。環球品の横領は犯罪です。いやいや、新兵にして上官を恐喝するとはな。お前さんの将来が楽しみだよ。
Interesting.
環球品の横領はそんな無法が許されるんだよ。ここじゃな。
その辺にしてやってもらえませんかね。
それともこれ以上問題にされますか？
今度だけだ。
Oh, he'll try to shoot him.
不正に手を染めるやつには相応の報いを受けさせるんでしょう。
俺もお前の言う大きな流れってやつに
Interesting, interesting.
どうだろうね。私はただそうやって流されるような弱いやつでも人間と思われたいだけ。
Shit. Oh.
いや、もうすっかり
兄、エレンを逃がすことに協力してくれないか。王政の命令に逆らってこの壁の中のどこに逃げるの？調査兵団の一部による反抗行為って体だけど、時間を作ってその間に審議会勢力をひっくり返すだけの材料を揃える。必ずね。悪いけど話にならない。黙っといてやるから勝手に頑張んな。兄、お願いだ。このままじゃエレンは殺される。もちろん迷惑がかからないように努めるけど、ウォールシーナ内の検問をくぐり抜けるにはどうしても憲兵団の力が必要なんだ。これしかない。だから兄がこの話に乗ってくれなかったら、兄は僕にとって悪い人になるね。いいよ。乗った。
Everything is a bit strange. Oh, poor Jean. He'll get punished when they get him.
あそこだ。ここ。うん。ここを通る。
朝が暗くて狭いところが怖いとか言うなよ。
そうさ。怖いんだ。あんたみたいな勇敢な死に急ぎ野郎にはきっとか弱い乙女の気持ちなんてわからないだろうさ。
バカ言ってねえで急ぐぞ。
いいや、私は行かない。
Oh, this
そ
is...
っちは怖い。地上を行かないなら協力しない。
Oh, she is a suspicious man.
さっきからこの辺にはなぜか全く人がいないから。
Oh, they were caught.
兄、なんで
Wait, she betrayed them.
立体起動装置を持っていたの？あれは拾ったの？じゃあ生け捕りにした2体の巨人、兄が殺したの？さあね。
Oh, she...
あの時僕を殺され
It's her.
今こんなことに。
Oh, man.
まさかあんたにここまで追い詰められるなんてね。
兄、お前が間の悪いバカでクソつまんない冗談で適当に話を合わせてる可能性がまだあるから、とにかくこっちに来い。
話してよ兄、僕たちはまだ話し合うことだって。もういい、これ以上聞いてられない。不毛。もう一度ズタズタに削いでやる。女型の巨人。
Yeah, shit. Oh, shit. What the hell is happening? She's crazy.
私がかけたの。
Oh, no.
ここからだから。
Oh, no. She really is. And it was a trap for her. Oh my god. Wow. Just wow. Oh boy. I guess this is the first theory that I was really right on. And just in this final scene, I think I was a bit confused at first because I didn't know what that actually meant at first. Those all soldiers hiding on the roofs. At first I thought it was that they were caught, Annie and the rest. Then I thought she betrayed them. But it seems like it was a trap set up for Annie. Because all of them then attacked Annie, right? So Armin actually planned this. Wow, I mean... And if I'm not mistaken, he mentioned something about her taking Marco's equipment. So does that mean that she had something to do with his death? But why did then Jean dress up as Eren if they planned to make this trap for her? I don't know, I still have to look that back. I'm a bit confused by the whole thing, because it seems like Armin was planning this, but at the same time they still wanted to escape or anything like this. I'm not quite sure on that. But oh boy, I don't know, I feel excitement, adrenaline in a way, because it was true that she was the female Titan. Wow, like initially I had feelings that she might not be the female Titan after all, because it seems like she was here for a long time now, living here as a member of the police brigade. So from a time and place point of view, it had to be really hard for her to get from Wall Rosette to Wall Sheena in such a short time, and that was a bit, confusing to me, and I thought that, well, maybe she's not a female Titan after all. I know they haven't shown us now the image of the female Titan, but she has to be it, right? That's it, unless she's another Titan, the other spy, and that both of these spies are actually evil Titan, and that both of these spies can actually shift to a Titan form. But everything is I think that's it. She's the female Titan. There's nothing more, I guess. In any case, even if she is not specifically the female Titan, and if she's just another evil Titan user, a Titan shifter, she's still evil. It's crazy because a part of me didn't want to believe it. A part of me thought that maybe that's not her. Because I liked her as a character. She was definitely interesting, and when we initially met her, I've seen a lot of potential in her, the way she looked at the things, the way she interacted with Eren, and I just didn't want to believe it that that's true. But if you have watched my discussions, everything pointed towards her, because just the fact that she didn't go into the Survey Corps, so she wasn't there. Just the fact that the female Titan was looking a bit like Annie. Just the fact that it had to be someone who knows Armin and Eren. And it probably had to be a female, and it probably had to be an important character, because I always thought that if we one day learn the identity of the Titans, that we will probably know those persons before. So it will not be so. For instance, if we learn who the Colossal Titan is, it will be someone we have met before and already know, just because it makes it more emotional, more interesting. It's not just a random evil guy. And that's why everything pointed towards Annie, because Sasha and Mikasa were both there during that expedition, and you then just are left with Annie and maybe Rico, but it would just ruin Rico's arc you know, and there was just more evidence pointing towards the fact that it is actually Annie who's the female Titan, and she is. And I felt so torn apart during this episode. As I said, some things she did, it was like, okay, maybe she's not. And then some things, like just the pure fact that this was a Annie-centric episode, I just thought she's probably the female Titan because we are giving her attention, you know. There's just something that were pointing towards the fact that she is the female and some that she's not. And I was not sure if she actually is or not, you know. As I said, they did little things like she saved that guy from getting beat up even more. And then it is, you know, and you thought, well, she's good. Why would she be the female Titan? And then when she put up on that ring, and I said it was suspicious, like it seems so suspicious, I had a feeling that this was foreshadowing. I had a feeling that this was basically a hint, you know, because they bit themselves into the arm. I thought this was a hint that she is the female Titan. And it actually was. It actually was a tool to help her transform. So there are so many more questions which this opens up. Like, what is her goal? That's the biggest question. I suppose she went to the training camp to somehow get inside, to somehow act as a spy. So she graduated and was accepted as a soldier. Okay, that makes sense, right? But what is her ultimate goal? Because she went to Walshina, where probably the king lives, right? She's right inside there, and if her goal was to kill the leading humans, the king, she could do it. But she didn't, so she basically went back to try to kill Eren. It's so funny because in today's introduction I was talking about the moral, about one comment pointing out the moral ambiguity, duality. You know, some things can be viewed as good or bad, but if I'm being honest, like, I can't see no reason which would solidify her actions. That I just can't find any. Even if, like, she has a political or maybe religious, who knows, belief, and that she always wanted to achieve a greater goal, but her goal was never to kill humans. That's why she maybe felt guilt and she cried in the previous episode. But still, what could that goal be? Like, what could make you go berserk, crazy, and just kill most of the people? She was even having joy while she was killing, so, like, I really don't see any. You can't, even if she wants to save everyone from the monarchy. I mean, yeah, she said in this episode that she just wants everyone to be considered a human, even if they're following the flow. You know, that was a thing. I mean, I think that's what she said, you know. That also those ordinary, normal humans who are not like Eren, brave enough to go against the flow, that even those are considered human. That's what she wants. I don't see how she would achieve that by killing humans. I mean, you want some people to be considered humans, but then again, you're killing humans. You want a better world for humanity, I guess, but you're slowly killing everyone, which means that your world will be empty. Maybe this is weird, but it's like trying to build a school in a town with no kids. Like, what is she trying to achieve? She's trying to make something good, but at the same time she's ending lives. I mean, that's just unacceptable for me personally. Like, maybe she's crazy. Like, here at the end, she really was weird as hell. I mean, she was blushing, I think. It seemed like she was laughing like a girl who just got a compliment from a guy. So I guess the female Titan arc isn't finished, as it seems. She was also always featured in the openings and endings, and I mean, in this ending, I don't think she was featured in the first ending. It seemed like she's one of our core characters, like Jean and Connie, but she's actually evil. But I'm still curious to see if maybe she's actually the main villain. Because, as I said, there's a possibility that the person who is the female Titan or the Colossal or any one of them is actually one person and can shift between forms. And maybe that's why they didn't show us here this ending at the end that she transformed, because maybe she will transform into the Armored Titan. It's just so amazingly satisfying from a storyline perspective to see everything go in place, like to see that each little detail, each little hint actually meant something. I'm so glad that at the same time I didn't want it to be her, but if you really think about it, it's the best thing. It's much more satisfying than seeing a random person be her. It's more interesting because you know that your characters have a past, an emotional past, I guess. They were considered friends, so now they're enemies, essentially. I mean, Eren will be pissed. Because Eren wants to save everyone, and now to know that his friend was basically killing them for fun, oh boy, that's going to be interesting. Extremely interesting. I probably now go to the episode breakdown. You might see me tomorrow, or maybe later today, but what an episode, man. So I'm back, and I'll continue with the episode breakdown. At this point, I have already edited everything else that I have filmed so far, and basically with that I had a chance to revisit the episode, basically rewatch it, which is great because it helped me to notice some details. I wrote down some stuff, some names, because there's really a lot to talk about in this episode. Also, during this time, I think it's now 2 days since I watched the episode, I had time to think and I came up with a new big theory, I guess, and I also came up with probably the best reason I could as for why Annie would be doing this, and I'll talk about all of it soon. I'll just follow the chronological order. Yeah, let's just get into it. So we started off with Annie having a dream. She was basically dreaming about training with her father. And that scene meant a lot more. Maybe meant a lot more than I initially thought. Because basically, while rewatching and going slowly through the footage, I came up with a new theory, which is basically that I think that Annie's father is probably one of, if not the main antagonist, and he's probably the Colossal or Armored Titan, one of them. And there are multiple reasons as to why I think like this. So the first thing would be just the fact that now it's basically almost confirmed Annie is the female Titan, and I remember Armin saying that the female Titan was probably already present at the Battle of Eren's home village, the first village. So that she was actually there at the first battle which we have seen. That's what Armin said, because the female Titan brought the Titans. But that actually means, because Annie is in the same class as Eren when they were training, that she was around 10 years old when that happened. That means that basically a 10-year-old child was controlling a Titan body, and because she was a child doing this, it probably means that she was doing this because her father said her to do that. It makes the most sense because, at that age, a child still does not have a great sense of judgment. So, and that's why it usually follows a person who it trusts. And it just makes the most sense that she was basically used by her father. Because I don't believe that she would, as a 10-year-old, be hiding this power from her father, and at the same time she would join a group of people who want to kill people, So I just don't know how would she met them, It just makes the most sense that she was basically forced in a way. And it makes the most sense that she would, because children often listen to their parents without hesitation, and it just makes the most sense that it was probably her father who made her do this. So it just makes sense that he is behind everything, because he definitely had to know about her power, because I don't believe she would hide this from him. And it just makes sense that he, as her father, would be able to convince her to do such horrible things. And also because she had this power at such young age, it had to be an adult who injected the serum into her. So, and it was probably her father, and it makes sense because like age-wise, he could have known Dr. Jaeger. And I said in one of my previous videos that it was probably someone who Dr. Jaeger knew that stole the serum from him. It seems like her father probably has known Dr. Jaeger stole the serum from him and then was probably hiding, which is also evident from her dream because they were living in a forest. I know that, this is maybe not... I know that Berthold and Rainer, I think they lived in the mountains, so if you don't live in a village, I know that it doesn't necessarily mean that this is something strange or abnormal, but this definitely could be an indicator that they were hiding because they lived in a forest. It just seems the most logical that her father convinced her. And just the sheer fact that he trained her to achieve his goals, he wanted to make her a fighting machine, it just seems like she is a tool for him. Of course, I could be wrong, but there are a lot of indicators that point to this. And also, I'll talk about this again later when I'll be talking about probably the main reason as to why Anne is doing this. But as I said, I'll talk about this later. I'll now go through the story. So yeah, we have seen a little bit of Wall Sheena. There was a short scene with the priest who was panicking when someone said something about sealing the gates. And that priest said that each of the wall is a goddess. So that's interesting, because I know in some of the previous episodes they were already talking about how the walls are god, but they never have spoken about goddesses, female gods, I'm really curious now to know if that means that they believe that there are 3 goddesses and 1 god, or are there even more multiple gods, or are there just these 3 goddesses? I don't know. Or maybe it just doesn't matter, you can say goddesses or god to the wall. I'm not entirely sure on that, but I hope I'll find out one day. And then we basically were introduced to basically 3 new characters, but I don't know if they will be featured in any larger role in the future. It just seemed as they were just mainly created for the purpose of this episode, because it was an Anne-centric episode and you also have to have some other characters. That's why they got quite a bit screen time, especially like Marlo. But I'm not entirely sure that they will be featured a lot in the future. But who knows, maybe. So we met, like I said, Marlo, and then I think the woman was Missy. I think her last name was Hitch, but someone said to her Missy at one point, so I'll call her Missy. And one other guy who had bright hair, but I don't think they said his name. And then one of the, I guess, higher ranked officers came to them and told them their job today, that they will have to escort the carriages. Marlo then got, because Marlo asked basically from why are they doing this, why do they need protection, and then that officer just said, oh, you're curious here, you will be the responsible for this, like he's the main guy now in charge of this operation. And he basically said that the higher ranked officers or superiors don't have time for this. And then it was shown why, because they were drinking. And were they playing any game? I don't know, it seems like they were playing maybe a card game, or I remember that wrong, but they were having fun. That's the bottom line. They were having fun. And then these new young recruits of the police brigade went outside and were talking about the corruption of the system, and this was shown in this episode a lot of times. Even like when the first officer came and the new recruits wanted to salute him with that typical military salute when they offer their hearts, but he said that they should they should stop doing this. It's not important, you know. I think if you respect that salute, if you know what it means, you know, to offer yourself for the army, then you're a true soldier. Then you understand the other rules. Then you know what your responsibility is. It was clear evident they don't respect this salute, and then they don't respect the rules. They're making their own. It was clearly shown that this is a really corrupted organization. And while Annie and the rest were outside, as they were talking first about the corruption, Marlo then said that he wants to reform the whole police brigade, that if he were to be in charge, everything would be different. He would restore the original beliefs. And you know what? If he is now an important character, I could see a ending for him where he basically succeeds and becomes the commander of the police brigade. But yeah, with the way and what basically he was talking, he resembled Eren a lot. He reminded even Annie. Even Annie was seeing similarities between him and Eren, and said to him that she admires the fact that he's brave to go against the flow, but maybe at the end that just means that he's an idiot. Then this group continued to walk, I guess, towards the gate, and then they spotted two soldiers from the police selling their equipment to the black market. And Marlo was extremely angered by this, because, as he said, this equipment uses the money from taxes. These policemen are getting this equipment for free because they're funded by tax money, and then they're selling this. So this is not only wrong from the perspective that they're basically using everyone's money to make profit, but it's also wrong because they're selling this equipment, which is probably weapons. Like, what would anyone want to buy from the police brigade? It's probably guns, blades, maybe the maneuvering gear. And who would want to buy this? Probably a criminal organization, probably a business owner who uses violence to maintain his position, you know. So they're basically fueling crime, criminal activity, but they're policemen, and this is so hypocritical from them, basically. And again, this was another sign of the corruption of the system, and it's sad because these are the best of the best. These soldiers can only be from the top 10 of each class. So they're the strongest soldiers, so they're wasting their skill set because they would be really useful for battling titans. And not only that, this system, once they join the police brigade, is probably slowly corrupting everyone. Because I don't think that everyone who joins the police brigade is evil or was evil or anything like that. It's just that you quickly realize that if you go against it, you'll only have problems. So why not join it and make some profit? And that was clearly evident when Marlowe went to these two soldiers, and said to them that this was a crime. They gave him a coin, and probably that's how slowly everyone is becoming just like these superior officers. But Marlowe, I guess, is a bit different. He still insisted that this is a crime, and then was getting beat up by those soldiers. And Annie came there and stopped them of doing that, and Missy convinced them to leave. It was really similar to the scene where Armin convinced two soldiers that they should stop beating up Eren in episode 2. And then basically, when they were leaving, Marlowe thought about killing them, but he didn't. It seemed like he wanted to shoot them. And then he asked Annie if basically Eren would have done it. She said possibly. And then Marlowe said that that means that he's just a normal person who is in the flow, and Annie there said that she just wants that everyone who's not strong enough to go against the flow is also considered human. So, and that was interesting, and I'll come back to this later. And then when the carriages arrived, Armin was hiding and called Annie. Annie went to him, and they had their conversation, where Armin basically asked her for help, and said to her that she will be a bad person in his eyes if she won't help. And it seems like this really meant something to her. It seems like she has a bit of respect towards Armin, which was probably evident even from before, because she basically spared his life. And then she went with them, and they decided to go. Armin wanted to go underground, and then they probably planned to talk to her in the underground and see if she is the female titan, because it was probably the safest place. She probably wouldn't transform down there because it's just too small. It might, I guess, kill her. I don't know. At least she wouldn't be able to. Maybe she wouldn't be able to transform to her full form. But anyways, she realized that there was no one around, and she realized that this is an ambush. And they were talking, and Armin mentioned that he realized that she took Marco's equipment. Does that mean that Marco's equipment was broken because of her? Because that then means that she's at fault for his death, which is horrible. And it seems like she was the one who killed Bean and Sonny, Hanji's titans. I don't know how did Armin realize this? That's her? Did he just realize this from the fact that she used Marco's equipment? Or maybe he has seen the resemblance of the female titan and Annie? I mean, yeah, I also figured out that was Annie, but I'm not in the story. I had a small pool of women to choose from. It was probably either Mikasa, Sasha, Annie, or Eriko, you know, because they had to know Eren and Armin, and we had to know them because it's more interesting. But, you know, that was the biggest possibility, I was thinking. But for Armin, you know, we never know, you know, how many women do Armin and Eren in reality know, you know, so he wasn't able to look at this as a viewer, but he figured it out. And Armin and Eren were like, they were a bit in denial, they didn't want it to be true. And Annie at some point said that she failed to become a warrior and that she's a fragile girl. I think she said that she was not brave enough to go against the flow or something like this. This is really interesting because this could be an indication towards the reason as to why she's doing this. I believe that she's doing this still just because of her father. I think she, and by saying that she's a fragile girl who was not strong enough, she's hinting to the fact that maybe she doesn't want to do this. Her father is forcing her to do this, and she's not strong enough to fight against it. She cannot resist him. As I said, I'll come back to this, to the line where she said that she just wants everyone who's not brave enough to fight against the flow, that she wants those also be considered as humans. And maybe that was implying to her. Maybe she has a crisis where she doesn't know who she is. Maybe because she can change into a Titan and she basically kills humans. Maybe she doesn't know where she belongs. And maybe she doesn't see herself as a human. And basically her saying that those people who are not able to fight against the flow, that she wants them also to be human. She talks about herself because she's not able to fight against her father's will. And I just thought about something just to finish this. And she's not able to fight against her father's will, but she still wants to be considered human. But now I remember that it was so suspicious that Irvin told his plan to go to Eren's basement. He told that at the ceremony where they had to decide where to go. And Armin was thinking, like, why is he doing this? And if you remember, Annie was also there, so he did this because he wanted the spy to hear them. He wanted the spy to hear their plan, and Annie heard that, and that's why she appeared there, because she didn't want them to go to the basement. And why wouldn't she want? Maybe if they learn what is in that basement, maybe they will realize that it's Annie's father behind everything or something like this, and she did it because she wanted to protect her father. Or maybe herself, but basically, yeah, maybe she is doing this to protect her father, to help her father, I guess. That could be the most reasonable reason I can think of, that she's forced by her father and she's obeying him because she loves him. It seems like she really respects him. As I said, she never said anything bad about him. So she's obeying him, and at the same time, because she loves him, she's protecting him. So she's doing everything she can to do that. And what could maybe support this theory is the fact that she went a bit crazy. She laughed in a really creepy way, and her face when she was like about to transform was insanely creepy. So, and maybe that just indicates that she is mentally unstable, that she doesn't want to do that, but she has to. And when she has to, she basically becomes another person, because if she doesn't become the horrifying, creepy Annie, then basically she mentally wouldn't be able to do this. That's maybe a thing, but maybe she's just evil. I try to think about any reasons as to why maybe she's not as guilty as it seems. And also maybe she has some political reasons as to why she's doing this, as I said. But I guess we'll just have to see. Maybe she's just purely bloodthirsty and just wants to kill everyone. Even if this is true that she's forced by her father, I still think that it's that also a lot of blame is also on her. You cannot say that it's all her father's fault, because she's clearly aware of what's happening. It's not like she's entirely brainwashed. She's still aware of what she's doing. She's talking. So it's like, and just to think about the fact that how many people died because of her. Marco died because of her. The whole Levi squad died because of her. So many innocent people died because of her. The members of the Sorry Corps. Remember how enjoying she was? Swinging one guy in mid-air. And then even when she was not in her Titan form, she killed Gunther. And then, if you look at it, she basically is at fault for Carla's death. Because she brought the Titans there, and it was a normal common Titan who ate Carla. So, that means that it's Annie is basically responsible for so many deaths in this show until now. So even if this reason is true, that she's manipulated, forced by her father, I still don't think that's enough to work as an excuse. I think that's inexcusable what she's doing. I mean, maybe she really felt guilt when she was crying in the previous episode, maybe, but that's not enough. Having a reason doesn't mean that that's an excuse. If you have a reason to do something, then at least you're not insane entirely, If someone is killing for no reason, then he's probably insane. So her having reasons is something I expect, but that doesn't work as an excuse, If she'll ever get caught and she will confess her crimes and feel sorry for them, that's great. At least you're aware that you did some horrible things, but at the end of the day, you have to pay for your crimes. That's how it works. For each crime comes punishment, especially crimes like this. You cannot give life back, and she took so many lives in a horrifying way, so... And basically the episode ended with the transformation. So for my predictions for the next episode, I expect a fight. I expect a fight between Eren or her, but I believe that if Annie will be defeated, I have a feeling that Mikasa might do it. Because that scene in this episode where she drew her sword and put down that coat, I didn't say it while watching, but man, it was an epic moment, awesome. She said, I think she said, shred you to pieces again. I don't know, that shot was just so full of as Mikasa as it gets, I guess. It felt epic, and Mikasa is not just a person who just talks. She usually supports her words with her actions. So, I don't know, I just got a feeling that Mikasa will be going all in the next episode. And, I don't know, I really like that moment. And I love Mikasa, so I really hope that she will be able to shine again. And I just have a feeling, I don't know. It's just my personal feeling that if anyone will able to defeat or kill Annie, it will be Mikasa. Also, I don't think Armin would do it. I don't even know if Eren would kill Annie. I just have a feel that although Eren is hot-blooded, but I don't think he would kill a person just like, oh well, yeah, he did when he was a child. But that guy, but Annie means something different to him. maybe he just... We'll have to see, I guess. We'll have to see what happens. Maybe Armin also. I just don't have a feeling that it will be Eren, because it's the obvious choice. It also could be Armin, because they had this interesting relationship between Annie and him. So it could also be him. Yeah, now I'll quickly talk about the info cards. So they are about the police brigade. And the first one said that there's around 2,000 of them. And that they're also controlling some of the garrison, which in total means 5,000. And the second one said that each walled village contains 200 of them, and that their duties are to oversee the training, to oversee what the garrison is doing, and they are basically the firefighters in this world. And some interesting information. I'm just not entirely sure if when they said that in each city there's around 200, do they only mean the cities by Walshina? Because I never recall seeing them in any other village until now when we have seen Walshina. And also, like, when Jean said that he wants to join the police so he'll be safe, so I assume they're only inside Walshina. The interesting part here is that they're just overseeing stuff. It never mentioned something about doing a normal policeman job, like solving crimes and making sure that there's nothing like that happening. I mean, maybe they're doing this, but it was not stated in the info cards. But I always wondered if these policemen are your usual policemen who work to maintain order and law, then why are they only inside Walshina? Don't you also need policemen like in Trust? It would make sense. I guess the garrison works there as a police, I suppose. But yeah, it was interesting to see more of this military branch. Like, I would also like to know more about the garrison. I'm interested if the garrison have their own specific duties, or are they just basically the police, or are they basically the same as the police brigade, but just outside of Walshina? Maybe. And now to grade this episode. And I'll just give it a 9, I think. Around there, it's extremely close to the 2 previous episodes. I don't know which one of these is better. They're extremely same to me. I mean, just for the last reveal, it was just so intense, the whole last moment. And I mean, I literally felt adrenaline when the episode ended. I just felt pumped up. It was just so, like, we finally have learned who that is. Like, finally someone, and it's dangerous, and her smile, like, the combination of everything. The final act was amazing. Although I was at first confused, but as soon as you see what's happening, you quickly realize what everything meant. And also the part where we have followed Marlo and the rest of them. Although these were new characters, you quickly realize that Marlo is similar to Eren, and it was just nice to explore how the police brigade works. So I loved it. I love this episode. And yeah, so if you have enjoyed this video, consider subscribing. As always, any type of feedback is appreciated. In this episode, I'll probably also won't include the background music, because I just wanted to hear this mic in a full episode without any distractions. And yeah, we're close to the end. Just 2 episodes and the first season is over. Have a great day. See you soon.